Gentlemen of the press, this release, as you have heard, is essentially from the committee, the Peace and Reconciliation Committee that was set up by PANDEF. Now, the PANDEF is represent Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum. It was established in 2016 to give a voice to the people of the Niger Delta. So other than the Middle Belt Forum, PANDEF is perhaps therefore the latest of such regional bodies behind the likes of Afenifere and Hannes and Dibo. But we are satisfied that in less than 10 years of existence, it has grown to be a strong and strident national voice to be listened to and to be respected. At the Special General Assembly in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, on 24th October 2024, the theme of which was fostering peace and unity for sustainable development of the Niger Delta region, the forum discussed the very unfortunate political logjam into which Rivers State had been thrown. In a determination to prevent a full-blown crisis from developing, the forum set up a 7-person high-level Peace and Reconciliation Committee chaired by me, Obang Victor Atta, with eminent members including former military governor of Kwara State, Colonel Pamoga, retired, Senators Emmanuel Ibawesien, Roland Owe, and Stella Omu, former Bayelsa State Deputy Governor, Rear Admiral J. John Jonah, retired, and Right Honorable Stella Dogo as Secretary. All of them eminent and respected elders of South-South region, with a deliberate exclusion of Rivers State. The exclusion of Rivers State was to ensure that no member would be accused of bias or taking sides. 3 days ago, as you know, on Tuesday, 11 March 2025, an eminent delegation of PANDEF comprising some of the most distinguished ladies, elders from our region was received in audience by the President, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Among the troubling issues facing the region for which we sought the President's intervention was the potentially explosive political situation in Rivers State. We made it clear to Mr. President that there was a need for him to impress upon the key personalities involved, one of whom is his cabinet minister, the necessity for prioritizing peace. We were firm in our resolve that an amicable solution must be secured. Such a solution as can only be secured by negotiation. Hence, the setting up of the Peace and Reconciliation Committee. We brought to the attention of Mr. President the difficulties that the committee has been experiencing in trying to secure the cooperation of his cabinet minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Chief Minister Wike, since all our attempts in the past to meet with him were rebuffed. Mr. President did not give us the impression that, in receiving us in audience, he was meeting with representatives of, and I quote, the worst organized organization for anyone to rely on. That quote is from the present Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And that is how he described PANDEF, and which we think was very unfortunate. This, however, seems to have explained his refusal to meet with the Peace and Reconciliation Committee, because he considers the organization that we represent as the worst organization for anyone to rely on. Since the President has thrown the ball back in his court, as he said, we intend to bring this impasse to his attention in the firm belief that he can intervene and cause his minister for the Federal Capital Territory, Chief Minister Wike, to come to the negotiation table with PANDEF. It must be realized that it is not possible to clap with one hand, and negotiations can only take place if the parties in dispute agree to make themselves available and accessible. Should this fail, PANDEF would have no other choice than to disband the Peace and Reconciliation Committee and withdraw totally from any attempt to resolve this unfortunate logjam in Rivers State. But our fear is that this could have catastrophic consequences. I will take questions on the work of the committee if you have any. Thank you. To the general, I can argue from the general to the particular. I think there's a big mistake being made here, that everybody should be on one side or the other. There are some members of PANDEF that, very, if you like, can be termed favorites of Wike, and there are those that could be termed favorites of the governor. And if any one of them speaks, not as PANDEF, but as the person, he now uses that to condemn PANDEF. That, I think, is wrong. It's illogical. So I think I'd like to point that out. And I want to tell you that I've been in this Abuja from the time it was being designed, when we were working from Suleja. That was the camp. And I know this Abuja very well. I was very pleased that a minister from my zone, for the first time, had been appointed. And I was really looking forward to working with Minister Wike, because he came with a statement that some distortions, he has observed some distortions in the master plan, and I'm aware of those distortions, and I was prepared to point them out to him, but sadly, I have not been able to secure an appointment to meet with him. And I congratulated him on his appointment, and I said we were quite willing to work with him or provide whatever input as a professional architect and town planner that I am, to help his work. So I want to hope that he will take advantage of that. But on the specific issue of what the committee has done, I want to tell you that we spent quite a lot of time. We spent 4 days in Port Harcourt, meeting with various stakeholders and critical people that could bring peace to that state. And I want to state that it's our conviction that a peace obtained from a discussion and a resolution is far superior to that obtained from a court judgment. Because one will be harmonious, the other will be contentious, and the ill feelings will always remain. I remember when I had my own issues with my president as governor, he said to me, no two people go to court and come back as friends. So maybe he was correct. And that's why PANDEF stepped in and wanted the elders. We have examples. I don't want to have to name them, but in the West we saw a recent where a very senior elder had a quarrel with a young lawyer. It's the elders that stepped in and resolved it. And thank God, nobody hears about it anymore. And that's what we thought would happen here. So we have written at least 2 letters to Wike asking for audience because we thought it was proper that we should meet with him. Because on the other hand, we have met twice also with the governor, and the last time came almost as a challenge thrown to us, the committee, by those we know are his very close friends and people that he listens to. They said to us, and they were very specific, go to Governor Fubara and tell him you want him to meet with Wike. If he agrees, come back, we will arrange for you to meet with Wike. It was a challenge. We went to Governor Fubara, and believe me, without hesitation, he said, if PANDEF invites me to a meeting with Wike, I will gladly come. That he said. And we conveyed this back to the minister and to those friends of his that have thrown us the challenge, and they say, in that case, we are working on it. So they're still working on it. It has not been possible for us to meet with. And out of respect, we thought we don't want to bring the 2 of them together without talking to him. He's the elder to the governor. So we want to give him that respect, talk to him, and just hear his own side of the story, so that when we bring the 2 of them together, the meeting will be easier and a lot more productive. Apart from the letters, I have sent messages, WhatsApp messages, text messages to the minister and to some of his close allies. Say, please, convince him of the need. I said, we are not talking here about Fubara, we are talking about River State. The peace in River State, so that the governor can function and everybody can be satisfied. And there have been no, as I put in my speech, there have been no cooperation, whatever, from the minister. He has not given us audience and has made our work very, very difficult. And that's why I said, the president said, go back and continue. But we can't continue talking to one side only. And that's why the intervention now that we need from Mr. President is to convince his minister that it makes sense for him to meet, first of all, with the PANDEF committee, and then later on, if he wants to, believe me, it would be very good if he can organize that the two of them be brought together with the PANDEF committee to discuss the river state and come to an understanding. We are quite happy to go along with that. Does that answer the question?
Yes.